So all along this nurse log are a couple of varieties of plants that are fairly common on Haida Gwaii. I probably wouldn't actually pick from these specific plants just because they're all quite tiny, and I prefer to harvest off of more well-established plants. But there's a whole bunch in one spot, so I thought this was a good spot just to go over some of the varieties. So starting over here is a little cedar, and let's get this to focus. Cedar is great because the fronds are quite robust, and so when you imprint, they hold up really well. They make a really nice defined imprint. Cedar also takes quite a while to like shrivel up and get not great looking anymore. So the nice thing is you could harvest some cedar, a week or even 2 weeks before the workshop, and it would still probably look really beautiful when you went to use it. So that's a great option. Hemlock is another nice option. Again, because the needles have some weight to them. They leave a nice defined imprint. The downside with hemlock is that the needles fall off very quickly. If you've ever had or seen someone get a hemlock for a Christmas tree, you know that it's pretty quick before all of a sudden they just have a stick and not a Christmas tree anymore. So hemlock, I definitely suggest picking, the day of or the day before you plan to use it. Otherwise, you are going to have needles everywhere and you'll just have a stick to imprint. Salal is another excellent option. Again, because the foliage is quite thick, especially on the back. All the lines are quite defined. They just hold up really well to pressing in the clay, as opposed to leaves that, are maybe a bit thinner and softer and more delicate. I like the little, I think these are huckleberries. And they might imprint, but they're pretty fragile. And that's often what happens when you try to imprint things like flowers and things like that. I guess it depends on the flower, but a lot of times the petals are just too delicate that, when you press them into the clay, they just really don't leave any kind of a mark. Ferns can also be a good option. They do tend to be more on the delicate side. However, some are a little bit more robust than others. So, just feel around and see what you can find. These ones are usually pretty okay. They've got a little bit more weight to them, whereas some varieties of ferns are quite delicate, and so are harder to get a good defined imprint from. So like any kind of harvesting, it's important to only take what you need, especially when we think of things like the hemlock and the delicate ferns and whatnot. They're only going to last and hold up for a day or so. So it's important to only take what you need for the project at hand, and not take more than what you think you might use. Happy harvesting, everyone!